We finally have more details about AMD's vertical 3D cache. Razer looks to finally be wanting to unveil their RGB face masks. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, which is FSR on a console emulator. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your host, Mr. Clean, and we're going to be going over the hottest tech news that I can find on the internet. There are more details coming out about AMD's Zen 3 3D vertical cache technology, with a senior technology fellow detailing more of what we can expect from what AMD is going to be implementing in this upcoming technology that is, for gamers, supposed to bring performance uplift of roughly 15%. Now, there's a lot of technical discussion in this about how the hierarchy of caches work and how it's not using an L4 victim, and that's using 23,000 through silicon vias, which are each about 17 micrometers in scale, in order to make all of this work. We'll leave a link in the video description where you can go over the LinkedIn blog post where this was posted, just detailing everything that we can likely expect initially from this 3D cache technology. But the idea essentially is that AMD's been preparing this for a while. They laid the foundation for it, they've built up to it, and now Zen 3 can get reintroduced with it, which would allow for us to get more performance uplift in video games, at least just for, base level consumers. It should be about a 15% performance uplift on Zen 3, and then we should likely see it in technology moving forward. So if we also get architectural improvements on Zen 4, then you add in this 3D cache, then we can be expecting to see a lot more performance from AMD down the line, which might make it hard for Intel to compete at this point. Are you excited for AMD's 3D V cache? Let me know down below in the comments. But let's quickly now jump into the Cryptostonks update, because there was a lot of motion going on in the crypto market over the weekend. While currently Bitcoin is down 0.61% on the last 24 hours, it is up tremendously since we had an episode of Hot News on Friday, with it climbing on Friday from 40,000 to sit above 44,000 right now, peaking over 45,000 at some point over this past weekend. So crypto having a marvelous weekend, with it just constantly increasing. Ethereum also sitting over $3,000 right now, again down 3.5% in the last 24 hours, but since the last time I covered it, it's massively higher. Dogecoin also sitting at 24 cents, as opposed to it hovering around 20 cents in the last few weeks that we've been talking about it, even though it's slightly down in the last 24 hours. So the crypto market does seem to be making some increases. Cryptostonks, however, had a slightly rough Friday. Down 1% is GameStop, 151.77 is what it closed at, and AMC closed down 2.42% to be at 32.70. So crypto up, Cryptostonks down. Is there any correlation between the two? It doesn't seem to be likely at this point. And is there any correlation between the Steam Deck being released and my happiness? And the answer is yes. So much so that I went on Amazon and I was like, what are some Steam Deck alternatives that I can get right now to hold me over until I get my Steam Deck? Because I don't know when I got into the reservation queue. I placed an order and then I had payment processing issues for 90 minutes and then I finally got accepted. I'm likely not getting mine until middle of next year. Hopefully Q4 of this year. I don't know. Anyways, a lot of tech journalists were able to get their hands on Valve Steam Deck for just kind of a preview setup, and Linus Tech Tips dropped an entire video where he went through a whole bunch of testing that he could do in the hour and a half that he had with the console, and there's a lot of things to take away. Number one, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's freaking amazing. It's not fully ready to ship, but it's freaking amazing, all right? And the price point, absolutely insanely good. It's faster than the Aya Neo's Vega setup, which just makes sense since RDNA 2 is faster. It also is better at thermals. It's also bigger and beefier, but it can run pretty decently well on its battery for a good amount of time. Also, the etched glass on the higher end version that's only coming on the 512 gig version is actually good, and that makes me happy because I've reserved the 512. So I'm liking to see this. You can see the Steam Deck on the left getting 60 FPS in Doom Eternal, whereas the Aya Neo got 37. So it does seem like RDNA 2 is a pretty decent performance uplift over Vega. I'm excited for it. The Steam Deck can't come soon enough. The fact that people are getting hands-on makes me happy, also makes me sad. I'm also slightly sad that the Tesla Cybertruck is being delayed until 2022, but this isn't a shocker. Elon Musk's kind of been communicating that's going to be pushed back a little bit. They haven't even finished construction on the Gigafactory that's supposed to be rolling it out. They're busy building that over in Austin, Texas. The Cybertruck cannot be built until the Gigafactory in Austin is done, and it's still not done. So it's building an entire factory to produce one truck kind of takes a little while. But it looks like Razer's trying to roll out one of their products sooner rather than later. The Project Hazel Mask, which was that RGB face mask, which was this at CES or was this an April Fool's joke? I can't even remember at this point. It's just all blurring together. Anyways, it has a new name. It's now the Razer Zephyr, and they're now accepting beta applications, which I wouldn't submit because, you know, I'm an alpha. Anyways, we'll leave a link in the video description in case you want to sign up for the sign up to beta test being a beta breather. I signed up. We'll see. I want people to look at me when I'm in the streets, apparently. That's all I'm going for. And all PUBG had going for it was the simplicity of its name, at least in my nice segue that I'm trying to make here. But now its nice name is gone because now it's PUBGBG. Yes, my friends, what was known as PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is now PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. PUBGBG. There you go. And Microsoft says, there you go. You want a night mode on your Xbox stuff? We're gonna roll that out to you. You wanna be able to dim your screen, the LEDs on your controller, even the Xbox power button? We got you. I love this. This is a great thing for them to implement. An optional blue light filter for them to just allow it so that if you wanna play at night and just lower the lights on everything, especially if you're playing in bed with a significant other next to you or somebody else who you don't wanna disturb, like that, I love this. Microsoft has been leading the way in accessibility, and while this isn't a traditional accessibility option, it is like personal customization to people's various scenarios, and I just love to see it from Microsoft. So yes, more of this, Microsoft, please. And more modding of previous consoles. A modder released a video on August 5th showing off his PS2 Eclipse, which is essentially a PlayStation 2 portable that he custom designed, but using original hardware. So it's not being emulated, and all of the games can run at full speed without any glitches, just like you never had a single glitch on your PlayStation 2 whenever you played those games. Not once did I see that red screen. Never. Anyways, we'll leave a link in the video description for you to check that out, so you can give some love over to Ginger of Oz and his modding skills, so you can make sure that we let him know that he did something amazing. But while we're talking about PlayStation stuff, the PS3 emulator, RPCS3, the open source one, has now added support for AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution, being the very first gaming console emulator to do so, which is pretty neat. So we're expecting FSR to roll out to the PlayStation 5 later on, as well as the Xbox Series X, but now it's in the PS3 emulator, which means you can get faster performance by descaling stuff, which the RPCS3 emulator is such a nightmare to run. It's never been a smooth experience. You need tons of cores and CPU power in order to get it to run effectively. It's really good, but that cell architecture that Sony designed for the PS3 is just a nightmare, all right? It was just, no wonder the PS3 lost that generation. But kudos to the dev team for implementing that into the emulator. And kudos to you for getting through today's episode of Hot News. Why don't you go check out Friday's episode where we talk about EVGA and how they're charging scalping pricing for their advanced RMA program. Spoiler alert, it's actually not a bad thing, but go watch Friday's episode and I'll see you tomorrow, my friends. Cheers.